Location: water. Try to locate your shelter near a good water supply, but above high water marks and never in a dry stream bed or wash. Stay at least 30 yards from your water source to avoid polluting it. If insects are a problem, stay away from stagnant water, especially wet, boggy areas, building materials, and fuel. Choose a location where you can find building materials and fuel nearby so you are not hauling them a long way. Visibility. If you are seeking rescue, make sure you are visible and not too near a noisy river that might obscure the sounds of rescuers approaching. Natural shelter. Utilize natural bluffs, fallen trees, caves, bridges, and so on for protection from the wind and rain. Comfort. The site should be flat enough and smooth enough for comfortable sleeping. Before pitching a tent, it's a good idea to lie on the ground first to see how the spot feels. Drainage. Make sure that the site will drain. Avoid hollows that can turn into ponds in the rain. Trenches can help to divert small streams in a downpour, but you can't move the pond. What to avoid? Don't try to build a shelter on hard, rocky ground. Check the area for stinging ants, bee nests, and so on, and avoid high wind areas, such as hilltops and ridgetops unless you want high winds to keep insects away. Avoid areas with danger of falling rocks or large dead branches from overhead trees. Valley bottoms and hollows can collect cold, frosty air at night. Squirrel's Nest. This is the simplest of survival shelters. It's a drag to get in and out of, so you should really make something else if you will be using it more than once. The basic idea is to heap as much dry debris as you can into a pile, and then crawl into it to stay dry and warm. Use leaves, pine boughs, bark, and so on. The debris is your sleeping bag, so the thicker it is, the warmer you will be. To insulate yourself from the ground, make sure you have an insulating layer under you as well as on top. Without a poncho or tarp on top, it won't be very effective at keeping you dry in a rainstorm. Building on fallen trunks and trees, it is usually easier to start a primitive shelter from an existing feature. A fallen trunk makes an excellent support for a simple lean-to. Shingling is an important part of primitive structures, and can be made from any materials that will keep rain from penetrating your shelter. Shingling can consist of thatch, bark, sod, or sticks and dirt. The basic idea is to make enough layers of slipped materials so that water runs down the outside without penetrating the structure and getting you wet. Figure 4 to 8. Fallen log shelter. Scout pits and coal beds. It takes considerable effort, but you can spend a comfortable warm night in a scout pit, even when it's very cold outside. First, dig a trench about 2 feet deep by 2 feet wide and a few feet longer than your body length. Build a fire in the trench that covers the entire length. After it has roasted the ground for an hour or two, cover the coals with several inches of dirt. Bridge the top of the trench widthwise with a layer of sticks and cover with leaves for insulation, finishing with a layer of dirt. Crawl in and enjoy the warmth of the heated ground. If the trench is big enough, you can use it a second time by heating rocks in an outside fire and dragging them in at night to heat your scout pit. One alternative is to build a fire in a shallower trench, 6 to 12 inches deep. When the fire is down to coals, cover the coals with a few inches of dirt, followed by debris insulation. You can pull some of this insulation over you for a preheated squirrel's nest shelter. If you have a tarp, place it underneath your body to act as a vapor barrier for protection from ground moisture due to steam rising from the heated earth. Snow shelter. Snow is a good insulator and can protect you from fierce winds and bitter cold. If your clothing is